Okay, Yao, so I've read your paper and I'm going to give you some feedback now. As you're listening, if you don't understand something, feel free to stop and rewind and listen again. So, first of all, I want to say that I think you did a good job figuring out how to make this essay work for you. It's a lot more clear than it was the last time we talked about it. So, let's go through it piece by piece. For a long time, people argued about men and women using different ways of thinking to solve problems. Here, the first time I read this, there are many logical dominant women. I was totally confused. I had to read it 3 or 4 times before I really understood what you were talking about. So you need to use a comma between logical and dominant so that I understand that it's two adjectives, especially because you have this idea of many. Then here you need to say who have changed or are changing the world. Yeah? And then in this space, in their own ways. Okay? And then here, this kind of women challenge the stereotype that women are emotional headstrong. Now you have this parallel structure problem. You have an adjective here, then you have a verb, and then you have an adjective. Make sure all three are the same. Here, with such as, this is never going to be the beginning of a sentence, so you need to change that to a comma. And I want you to note that in this quote, she says, I therefore tend to look at things much more logically than my colleagues. Here, the colleagues that she's talking about are men, not women. So this idea that Mrs. Thatcher chooses a different way to compare with most women in the world is not quite right, because she's actually saying that she is more logical than her male colleagues, because that's who she worked with. So that doesn't quite work for you to say this sentence. I would just delete it and just start with as Prime Minister, okay? I love that you connected it to Merkel. I thought that was very smart, but here you need to say receiving. In the second paragraph here, I didn't, here you need a period, not a comma. And here I didn't understand even cross the broker. I would try to rewrite this whole part starting here. Okay. Also, this idea they make the world change rely on women's logic when the men are unreliable. Why are the men unreliable? And I don't understand this make world change rely. You've got make, change, and rely, all three verbs, not clear what you're talking about. So I would try to rewrite this sentence as well. So here, but ignore if you have a verb as a subject, just like here, receive. Both need to be ing, but ignoring women's logic is also useful. I was confused by that. So we should ignore women's logic? I don't know. I didn't understand that. Yeah, that was very confusing. So this last body paragraph you have here, they're less likely to fall into corruption. I don't understand why you have these 3 stars here. Think about what that's about. Maybe you don't need them. Okay. So here you say they are full of ambition but not interested in taking the risk of their achievements. What do you mean, take the risk of their achievements? I don't understand that. The idea of an old boys club is an idea that men just want to be together and they don't allow women in. So it's not that women don't want to get involved, but they're not allowed. So I think you need to think about how to explain this quote a little bit more clearly. It didn't make sense to me. Likewise, I think that your counter argument, I don't understand it. I don't understand what you mean. Logic and emotion should work together and men's logic should be mainstream. Logic should be mainstream? What do you mean? Also, this idea managements do not need logic anymore. I don't understand that. I don't know. I don't know who doesn't think that we don't need logic to manage a company. I don't know. I don't. Very confusing. Work on that. Um, and then like down here, you're saying that without emotion, women are not good wives and mothers. I don't understand how this paragraph works. This is an interesting quote, and I think the quote gives me an idea about what you want to say, but it doesn't work. I would definitely work on redoing this paragraph. Nice conclusion. I really like the ending. I think it's good, but here you should say gentlemen. So all in all, you've done a lot of work that reflects that you understand what this essay is about, and it makes a lot of sense. But you've got definitely some things to work on. So let me know if you have questions. All right, bye.